She's so busy. We're trying to work on that, but I don't think she's got time. Yes, she does.
I'm Reynolds person.
Hi, Stanley.
Hi. You know, you forgot to take the camera off.
Yeah, you're not the only one. You're not the only one.
It's the last thing I think of.
Hi, Beatrice. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see everybody. Hi, this is
How are you?
So how you been? Okay. Still putting on
I'm most of the time on GM side, and then sometimes I'm Forders or
I need to tell you that we first will go through the salad line, and then you'll sit down, and then we'll go through the main roast beef line. So before we start, let's just ask the Lord for a blessing.
that to me so many times.
I
And she
remember,
laughs and laughs and laughs.
Was it raising money for something?
Yeah, but I don't remember what we were doing.
I remember the magazine.
That was good meat.
It's old. He's got arthritis. He's not gonna get healthy. I have two letters that I know that you'd be very interested in. They're very precious. It's from Joris and Raymond. And the first one is from Joris Sunset. And he says, I will start by saying I wish I could be there with all of you this weekend instead of having to write this letter. My thoughts will be with each of you this special weekend. I am doing well, and so far I have enjoyed good health. Only one problem, I have gained 25 pounds since my retirement and definitely need to do something about that. I retired in 2000, and at that time I took over the household duties. My wife, Verona, had a stroke in 2000. She made an amazing recovery from the stroke, as she was confined to a wheelchair and had limited motor skills. She now walks with the aid of a cane, and fortunately her speech and memory are normal. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Or otherwise I should maybe have some guy read the letter. The downside of this stroke is that it left her with very little feeling and sensation on her left side. This has been a huge adjustment in both of our lives, but we tried to count our blessings and realize that it could be much worse. So I will tell you a little bit about my family. I married my wife, Verona, have 2 stepchildren, and Verona and I are blessed with 2 children. Our daughter, Sherry, is married. She's a dental hygienist and lives in Yakima. My son, Jason, is still single, and he is an ER physician and works at a hospital in Portland, Oregon. He has purchased a home in Bend, Oregon, and spends a lot of time in Bend. I enjoy cooking, just don't like to clean up the mess. And I enjoy going out and play around the golf occasionally. Also, I still love high school sports and attend games locally. Verona and I have done some traveling, and our last trip to Minnesota was this past December. The highlight of my trip experience would have been to take a trip I made to Australia in 2004. My son Jason spent 6 months working at a hospital in Sydney, and I was able to spend 2 weeks over in Australia there with him. I did a lot of sightseeing, including a 3-day sailboat cruise around Whitsunday Islands and out to the Great Barrier Reef. This truly was a memorable experience. I am very active in our church, Christ Lutheran, serving as council member, Christian Growth and Fellowship Committees. I love my church family and feel it has been a great therapy for me since I retired. And then she says, Sharon, if possible, I would like a class picture. Once again, I would like to see all the pretty girls and handsome guys from Euland's greatest class, class of 57. 4 years ago, I saw Karen, Olaf, and Dwayne when I was in Euland, and last December I saw Olaf again. Also, I had corresponded with Letras, Myrtle, and Bob at Christmas, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to do so. And then he encloses his mailing address and his email address, so if anybody, actually his address is in the book that you have. But a little card then from Raymond. It says, Dear classmates, I'm sorry that Wanda and I will not be able to be with you. My mother, who is also now living in Middletown, is in poor health, and we are strictly close to home. So we stay strictly close to home. She is 92 and a half and has been hospitalized 3 times in the last 9 months. I retired from AK Steel in 2000 and very much enjoy the freedom it offers. I volunteer twice a week at the hospital. I have a ministry there as a member of the spiritual care team. God has blessed me in that and also with similar ministries in our church. Wanda and I have 2 children. Mike, 37, lives and works in Fredericksburg, Virginia. He's not married. And Colette, 34, who lives in Georgetown, Kentucky with her husband and boys. Nathan is 6 and Alex is 3. Mike works in construction. Colette is a homemaker who chose to stay at home when her children were born. We are both healthy. I have taken up triathloning to help keep me in shape. Have a wonderful reunion and wish we could be there to reconnect. Love you.
They had a microphone set up and then
I just want to welcome everybody here too. It's so good to be here amongst all of this. It brings back a lot of memories. I was at our 10th class reunion, and that was wonderful up in Moorhead. I remember we had a great time. And then I was here for the centennial, where we had just had a little bit of a gathering. So there's some of you I haven't seen since then, and some very little. But I think what we want to do now is everybody sort of give us a synopsis of what they had done and what they're doing, how they are, and so on and so forth. And if you remember, we had annuals in our school, but only every other year. Well, we were the odd number, so we didn't have an annual. But there's a senior etching now in remembrance here. My mother collected all this stuff, and when she died, we cleaned out her house. One of my sisters gathered this, and I got it in the mail, and it was in a closet somewhere until a couple months ago. I dug it out, and yeah, here all this stuff is, So it gives the dedication, the superintendent's message, and maybe you have like little sayings here. It tells you about what you were in. Like Gerald, it says, "Golden silence never tarnishes." There you are. And Frisk. Supposed to be Fritz, I think. A little nonsense now and then is relished by the wisest of men. Did you live up to that? Did you? Ray, Einstein's gone, now he's all alone. Now that's interesting because I just finished reading the biography of Einstein, a new one that came out, and quite a guy. But Ray is too. Bob knows more shortcuts than most.
Wonderful. Shortcuts are wonderful till you get caught.
Dwayne knows more about Chevys than most.
I knew it was going to be hard.
Orla, good-natured with likable air. That's good.
Yeah.
Ginny, it may be possible that blondes prefer gentlemen. Hey, I didn't write these, I'm just reading them. Edsel, I don't know Edsel. It says, the more I see of girls, the more I like cats. Well, I think he changed his mind pretty quick. And that was sort of with me too. I mean, I didn't like cats, but I went down to Minneapolis and lived down there, came back for my brother Bruce's wedding. And I'm the youngest of 8. And so we were back here at Atlanta Church at the wedding, and of course, everybody I saw asked, well, Teddy, you're the last one. When are you going to get married? And I said, never. Well, then I went back to Minneapolis, and the next night, I met Pat. Sort of changed my mind, so you never know what things you're going to say.
Yeah, but no, wait a minute. It took him 2 weeks to get around to calling back.
Yeah, well, but then it only took 2 more weeks until I proposed.
Oh, that's true.
Ole, it says, you know more about girls than most. Skippy could get lost in a crowd of 2. Myrtle, I may be quiet in school. And there's Frosty. There he is. Okay. Some think the world was made for fun and frolic, and so do I. I helped him attain that a few times. Karen, late hours aren't good for one, but they're all right for two. Doris, it takes all kinds. Sharon, without singing, life will be a mistake. We always love to hear you sing. Carol, bebop and opera, she makes them jive. Carla, today is never as good as the night before. I like that. And Leatrice, if words were a penny, she'd be a millionaire. And Ruth, she's got it if she can find it, and she found it. Oh, there's Shirley, one more. Time waits for no man, and neither does she. I just thought, hey, some of those are descriptive and some of those aren't, but they're all sort of fun. So, I don't want to stand up here and do all this, but why don't we just go around the table, start with you, Ed, and tell us a little bit about yourself, what you've been doing, you know, whatever you want to tell us. Go as intimate as you want.
This is my favorite cat, Ray. I worked for 30 years for Short Lakes Medical Center and Dakota Clinic, and we retired 11 years ago. We live on Round Lake now. Any of you have been to Palmsford, please forget about that. But Round Lake is a nice lake, and we've had a cabin there for about 30 years. Now we have a new home there. And we enjoy that a lot. We have 2 children. Our son is in Minneapolis, a son and a daughter, both in Minneapolis. We have 5 grandchildren. I think that's it.
I went to Moorhead State and I graduated from there, and I taught 2 years in Holly.
You gotta talk this way. There you go.
I taught 2 years in Holly and 1 year at Moorhead State Campus School. And then we had children, and so I stayed home and I didn't work outside the home till our kids graduated from college, from high school to college. And then I started working right in Holly for a gal, just part-time in the American Family Insurance Agency, and still work there just 1 day a week. And we have 3 children, 2 boys and a girl, and 7 grandchildren. Our one son lives right next to us. We have built a new house just behind us. And they have 2 children, a girl and a boy, 15 and 11. And then we have grandchildren in Crookston, Minnesota. And my daughter lives in Portland, and she has 3. So that's our family, and we're sort of retired. My husband is retired, but we find ourselves busier now than we ever were.
Are we ready? All smiles and eyes open, and here we go on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
I'm like,
Look kind of dark. I'm going to get a little closer.
oh, it's gotta be one.
Okay, here we go again. 1, 2, 3.
Frosty said he emailed her. Yeah.
Someone snapping flash. I mean, now you think you're a movie star. Once they get found, we get pictures from somebody. Maybe we're not from what I am. Yeah, there you go. Does she take pictures?
Jose Hamana. First thing, in your little sheet here, our address is wrong. When we first moved to Washington, we rented a place for a few months, and that's the address you got here. So if anybody's interested, the address is 2204 Highline Drive. Everything else is the same. But my life, with my wife Pat, lived in Minneapolis, suffered for many years, and while I was there, did several things. I was a dynamite blaster. Couldn't buy life insurance, so I was a dynamite blaster. Yeah. And heavy equipment operator. Belonged to 49er. Do you belong to 49er? Yeah. Operated engineers. And then in 1975, we moved to Billings, Montana, and did some construction work out there as well. Dabbled in a few other things. Eventually, I got into healthcare facilities and worked myself up through healthcare to be director of engineering and things in healthcare. Moved to Glendive, Montana, lived there for several years and worked at the hospital there. Then I went with a large corporation called Aramark Corporation and did the same type of thing. We'd go out and contract for management of facility services. They moved us to Washington, and since we got there, most of my work has been elsewhere through the country. I retired a few years ago. I still do some consulting for them, where they'll fly me out to hospitals, different places. I've been in Texas, Mississippi, New York, California, I don't know, various places. Big hospitals, little hospitals, whatever. And so I do that on a consulting basis, maybe a couple, 3 months a year, or whatever comes along that I want to do. We retired, semi-retired. If I say tell Pat we're retired, she laughs at me. But we have a nice house in Clarkson, Washington, and love it out there. View of the Snake River Valley, good fishing, mountains close by, and just love life out there very much. We have 2 daughters. Sherry is going to be 44. Jennifer is going to be 41. 4 grandchildren. They all live in Billings, Montana, so we get there on occasion. We have 1 grandson right now, Mikey, who's 13. We had a blow last May where he discovered he had a brain tumor, and so he was in Children's Hospital in Denver for a couple of months and removed the tumor, but he still has treatments for cancer and things. So we're pulling him along, pulling him through. Otherwise, life's been pretty good, and got lucky, found a good lady, and just love to come back here and see you guys. So that's basically my life.
After school, I got a job down in Fargo Bank, and I worked in various ones, Fargo, Hornet, Rosal, Detroit Lakes. Retired from that in about 94. Larry was retired, and he said he's going south for the winter, so I thought, well, I'm not staying in Minnesota for the winter, so I quit. And I got 2 children. Daughter lives in Colorado Springs. She has 3 boys, and a son that lives in Las Vegas, Henderson, works in a hospital out there. And I'm thankful that they're good. And very nice reunion, and we thank you girls for putting this on again for us.
I guess after graduation, I ended up marrying one of the Lake Park girls, Marion, and we moved to Red Lake Falls in 1960. I started working in a manufacturing plant there, and I'm still there, still working. So it's been 47 plus years in one factory, in one place. We've had 3 children, boys just out of Gunnison, Colorado, and our oldest daughter lives in Red Lake Falls, and another daughter lives just out of Plummer, where that's at. Plummer, Minnesota, just east of Red Lake Falls. And we got 6 grandkids. 4 of them are in, right now the ones that live in Red Lake Falls are in sports, so we're running ourselves ragged almost, going to sports things, which is fun. Like I say, I'm not retired yet, Marion is, but so we're happy.
In case you don't recognize me, I'm this guy right up here. But looking at this class picture tonight, you look at it and you think about one thing that's truly amazing Just everybody that's on this picture is still alive. Survived. So it tells you we're a clean bunch of class of 57, I tell you. Good lifestyle. The two administrators are still living, Kent and Don Bruto. So, but a little bit about myself. After graduating from high school, I went to Morehead State for a couple of years, and then I came back to Ullin and made a business venture, which probably wasn't the smartest thing I've done. Married Diane in 1963. We lived in Morehead, and then we moved to Hawley in 1967, 40 years ago. So I had the same job for 40 years, same house, the same spouse. So not much has changed. We have two daughters who both live in the Twin Cities right now. And we have one grandchild, a boy who was adopted 4 years ago. Very special little guy. In fact, he was up here last week and spent a week with Grandma and Grandpa. So we took him out to my brother's farm so he got to ride on the combine when they were harvesting. So that's all he talked about all week long, riding our combine. But no, it's just great that everybody made it. 20 out of 22 is fantastic. And this guy right here tells me he's playing on an old-timer softball team down in Texas now. So the team here, I think tonight, looking around, I think there's a lot of guys that look like they're shaking and could still play. And I got to tell you a little story here. This happened about 3 or 4 years ago. We were down in Texas spending a month, and I think we were over at Progreso, Mexican town right across the border. First people we run into, Larry and Carla, walking down the street. A day or two later, we get a call from Edsel. Hey, we're down here. We'll stop over and have coffee with you. The next day, Dwayne calls us. Hey, he says we're going to stop by and see us. Mini reunion. All classmates down there. So we do manage to get away in the winter. We spend a couple months down in Alabama, right on the Gulf Coast. We enjoy the climate down there. It's more like our fall climate up here. So I'm more of a sweatshirt person than running around with a sunburn. So I do enjoy it. So thank you again, and good seeing everybody.
Virginia and I worked for the coal company, Ma Bell. Then we both got married about the same time. And we lived in Fargo, I suppose, for about a year after. I was going to DBC. Then we moved to Wadena for 2 or 3 years. And from there we went to Little Falls, and we've been there ever since. Al worked for Fleet Supply for a little bit, then he went out to Camp Ripley in the National Guard. And I stayed home for 10 years, then I went back to work at the high school in Little Falls. And let me tell you, that was an eye-opener. When you think back to our high school years, that was an eye-opener. And it was a great job for me because I was home every summer. I just worked the school year in the high school office, and I could write a book with things I saw and heard there. And so we have 4 kids, 2 girls, 2 boys, 10 grandchildren, 4 boys, 6 girls, all the way from 8 months to 18 years. I think that's it. They keep us busy. Every time the phone rings, I can tell who's going to be. Mom, are we doing this? Are we doing that? And I say, well, Mom's not going to the casino. We'll be home. I do enjoy going to the casino. We haven't traveled much. We did Biloxi and Branson a few years ago, and we did Laughlin. I mean, you know what's there, don't you? So, but maybe we'll get some good cruise in or something before we, he's out catching those tadpoles there, in the summer and in the winter. Not that there's anything there anymore out on Mille Lacs. Other than that, I've been retired 6 years. He's been retired 13 years. Do the math. I worked 7 years after he retired. That was probably a good thing. So that's about it. That's about it.
Well, I have been married longer than any of you in here.
No.
Yes?
Evelyn got married before you did.
No, she didn't. Did you? Because we had our 50th wedding anniversary in June. Because we were married 2 weeks after graduation, if you
Yes,
all
we were.
remember.
I'm sorry, Carol. Go ahead.
And we lived on the farm at Gary and worked our fool heads off, of course. But we are retired, and we have 2 children, a boy and a girl. Our daughter lives in Hewlin here, but she works at Moorhead now, or at her burgers. But she does have a home here in Hewlin. She bought my folks' place, so that's her home. But she has 2 children, and our granddaughter is in Germany. She is going for a master's degree, so she's taking that over there. And we have a son, Jeff, which is home with us just right now. He's been in Wyoming. He's a telephone engineer. Otherwise, I guess our life has been pretty quiet, right? We've had a good life. Can't complain, and it's great to see you all. Well, I went to Concordia, and Roger was at St. Olaf, and when he graduated from St. Olaf, he got married, he went into the military, Air Force, and we were there in Texas for 5 years. And we have 5 daughters. They're all married. We have 14 grandchildren. We have 3 daughters living in Minneapolis area, and 2 in Florida. And let's see, what else should I tell you? We've done a lot of traveling since Roger also was with Northwest Airlines, so we've traveled all over. And in that time, when our children were born, I did stay home until the last one was in high school, and then I went back to school and got my RN degree. And then in the last 11 years, I've been with natural medicine, and so I have a naturopathic doctor degree, and then I also am a certified biofeedback technician for both Canada and the United States. So I work 3 days a week, and I'm trying to retire from that. Otherwise, I can't think of anything else to tell you.
I know all about that. I went to service for 4 years after school, and that was a waste. I don't recommend it, but grandkids, kids, they're all talking about, well, you did, why shouldn't I? I don't know. I guess you have to do it in order to find out that it is genuinely a waste of time. We have 5 children, and the oldest boy lives in Fargo. 2 girls both live in Moorhead, and our number 2 son lives in Scottsdale, Arizona, and our youngest is in Leesburg, which is just outside Washington, D.C. So they got different ends of the country, so we were fortunate enough this summer, the 4th of July, that they all came home. So we had a pretty good family reunion. Our oldest granddaughter is living in Dublin, Ireland. She was home, and it was quite enjoyable to see everybody together, you know, like it is today or tonight, to see everybody together again. And a lot of times to remember, memories that I guess we'll know and treasure for as long as we live. I worked for the phone company for 30 years, and I retired when I was 51. That was in 1991. And the only advice that I can give to anybody else that is retired or is considering retiring, there are at least 6 different ways to say, yes, dear. I highly recommend it.
After high school, I left immediately and I went to California. And I I found that to be not my type of living. I was happy to come back that next winter, and I worked at Augsburg Publishing House in Minneapolis, and then I was glad when I was called to Fargo to the telephone company, and I worked there. And Julie and I were roommates. I was married in 1960, and we lived in Moorhead, Dilworth, Linden, and we have 2 children. My son is in Fargo, and my daughter lives in Wheaton, Minnesota. And she has 3 children, and they're intelligent and good-looking. And
I think after the grandma.
after their grandma. Larry told me to say that. And then when my daughter was going into kindergarten, I went to the school to work, and I had a wonderful mentor who was the principal, and she encouraged me to take college classes. So I did, and it only took me 9 years. But I was certified in school, and I started teaching kindergarten. And that is a joy, and a lot of rewards. Then I kind of went backwards. That was in, whatever year it was, in 86. I went into the early childhood program. So I stepped down from kindergarten to early childhood, but that was another good reward. It ruins your legs, and it ruins your knees and your back when you enjoy it. And then I went back to work after I retired, and I went to the nursing home. So I left the little people, and I went to the older people, and that was very rewarding too. I left my heart there, and I still volunteer there 2 and 3 days a week, as I do at Ellen Hopkins School in the reading program, but I enjoy every day.
I came into SU in 1961 and was commissioned an officer in the United States Army. I spent 2 years, I got there, spent 2 years of active duty and 4 years in the National Guard, which I thought was really a pretty good experience because of the way the things are going around the world now. You kind of appreciate what those troops are going through, especially the National Guard. I don't even talking about that because those folks are part-time folks, and they're not supposed to be deployed for 2 years. After that, I joined the farm equipment business, wholesale to dealers. We lived in Minot, North Dakota, and Pierce, South Dakota, and Sioux Falls. We wound up in Sedalia, Missouri. We were going to stay there for probably 4 or 5 years according to plans. We stayed there 32 years. Still we've got, I have 5 kids, have got 5 kids. One of them is here tonight, Jeffrey. He's in the Marine Corps man, 18 years in San Francisco. Jim lives in Lamont, Missouri. He's the oldest one. He's an electrical engineer. Farrell is a teacher, early childhood in Phoenix, Arizona. And Michael taught us at early childhood in Jefferson City, Missouri. And my daughter Kathy lives in Dallas, Texas. Grandkids, we had 6 grandkids, and we got 1 in the hopper. We got that one, which was 0 minus 2 because it didn't even snow. And the oldest one is 15. That's good.
And we have 4 boys and 2 girls. And we have 10 grandkids. 1 more next month. And I've always been a farmer. I used to tell my boys what to do, but now they tell me what to do. So I just work with them. And
Yeah, out of high school, I went worked for Archer Daniels for a while, and I went into service for 2 years, Army. And then I went for Olin bought out Archer Daniels, so I was with them about 30 years. Retired now. I worked for Midcom, making transformers, about 10 years. I got 2 daughters, southern Minnesota. And I got 3 grandchildren, 2 boys, 1 girl. And we've been married 47 years now. It's my wife, Gloria. I live in Watertown. If you ever come through, call me up, let me know. Yep, glad to see everybody.
After high school, Orla and I went to Twin Cities to work. We worked at a telephone company. And then she got tired of it, so she moved away, and I stayed there. I met my husband and got married and quit working. And then after we raised 5 kids, I decided to go back to work, so I worked at the phone company in a total of 26 years. We lived in Plymouth that whole time, and after we retired, or after he retired, we decided to move to Princeton, which is an hour north. So we moved there, and it's very hard to get used to a new place after living in the same house for 38 years, but we're getting used to it. Otherwise, my kids live in the area except for one daughter who lives in Missouri. My oldest daughter came with me. She's here. She lives a little way, about 15 miles, and the other boys live in the area. And I have grandkids, 7 grandkids and some step-grandkids. We don't travel. We don't do a whole lot. But I just enjoy life. We have a garden. I do lots of gardening and stuff. It's very good to see everybody.
To Twin Cities. I transferred to Fargo after a telephone company, and then in 1959 I got married. And we have 3 children. James lives in Rochester, and Rodney in Breckenridge. And Diane lives in Friar Lake, our 3 kids. We have 2 grandkids. I worked at the Holly School, and I worked at the Holly Prairie. And right now I'm cooking for the senior citizens for Glendon and Holly. So I make about 45 to 50 meals a day, Monday through Friday. And we live south of Holly, and we've been married 48 years now in November. That's about it.
Well, after we graduated from high school, I went up to the Iron Range and I worked up there for about 2 years. And I came back here and spent a little time in Enderlin, North Dakota. And I came back here and worked on a farm for about a year. I got married, and then we worked in the feed plant for 10 years for the campaigns, and then we started farming in '64. So that's all I've done since then is be on the farm. So we retired from that 3 years ago, and rented the land out. And, I built a new home northwest of town here in 2000. So we lived there, and my farm is southeast of town. And we have, this is my wife Catherine, we have four boys, and we have 7 grandchildren. We have 3 step-grandchildren, and we have 6 step-great-grandchildren. So I'm getting old and hurried. And we usually go down to Texas in the wintertime for a short while, maybe anywhere from a month to 3 months, depending on how I feel, and come back again. That's how I see Axel and Olaf and those guys. So, and life has been good to us. So that's about as far as we've gone. I hope we keep on being and having good health so that we can do a few things yet.
Well, after I was graduated, I moved to Detroit Lakes and was working there. Met my husband. We got married. And I have 5 children. And they're all in with 6 years of each other's. In 6 years, I had 5 children. I didn't waste any time. And Now I have 5 grandchildren, 2 great-grandchildren, or 2 step-grandchildren. Now I have 4 great-grandchildren, and I have 2 step-grandchildren. And they all live close by so that we can get together all the time. I have a house full at Christmas time, I tell you. And it's really fun to be here and see everybody and meet everybody. And I guess that's it.
I have 6 children, 22 grandchildren, and Gordon has 11, so we have 33 grandchildren in all. And I worked for Midwest Home Health Care for a period of time, and now I work for DMN Hospital at Medicare and Family Birth Center.
I guess the first thing I want to do is thank Aaron and Sharon and Beatrice, whoever's the head of it, to invite me again, because I'm one of the greatest dropout students that you have. And I've had a busy life. I got 4 sons, and a few years after I dropped out of school, I went and got my GED, and I started work. I got a lot of sewing. I've done professional sewing. I still like to sew. And I guess through the years, I've done many things. I've been certified in passing meds at a nursing home. I worked in Twin Valley at a nursing home for 10 years. And I've been infertile at the nursing home for 27 years. And I still semi-retired. I work 2 days a week as rehab assistant. Enjoy that. And I like to travel, but my husband does not. He likes working in the yard and whatever he does. As my sister is married to the Wings, so everybody probably knows that. And the last few years, what I've been doing, I've been getting involved in mission work over in China. I've been over to China 2 times. Plan on going back the fall of 2008. Do a lot of sewing. I'm making quilts. Right now we're taking a couple reach outs. It's like a 12-hour train ride from Beijing, go way out south, and to very poor people. And right now I'm working on making 60 quilts to take to a nursing home there. I take a lot of school supplies, and I enjoy that. So I guess I live a busy life. I enjoy it. Going to be a dance here, so Karen and I will have to take up our stuff and remove this stuff. But I just wanted to make sure that you knew, and I want to say thank you to Karen and Gordy for all that they've done. Gordy's the one that took the picture of the picture, and Karen ran them all off, and I laminated them. But I also want to thank Ellen Moore, because tomorrow, is it at 1 o'clock that there will be a float? And as many of you can make it, he has the tractor and yeah, a very nice looking one too. I thought excellent. It's a rebuilt antique. Okay, and that'll be at 1 o'clock. So I hope that you can all make that. Other than that, I think we've just about covered everything. And I again want to just thank you so much. I think we had a very special class. With such high values, beliefs, and behaviors. It's just been such a blessing. And I just thank God for each and every one of you. God bless you and I love you.